Hello and welcome to the Property Unleashed podcast with me, Mark Fitzgerald. It's fantastic to have another guest joining me today. Valter Pontes is a multi-award winning property investor. He is a serial entrepreneur and a consultant as well. He is known for creating luxurious rental properties and changing the standards and the way people view rental accommodation. This has allowed him to win many awards, including the Nationwide HMO of the Year, by the Property Investors Awards, and the Entrepreneur of the Year in the prestigious Stevie Awards, which is one of the biggest international business awards around, where companies all over the world get recognized for solving real problems in the marketplace. Other awards or award winners were companies such as Google and McDonald's with their marketing campaigns. He has also been featured in Forbes magazine, YPN magazine, Your Property Network, and that's just to name a few. And what makes me laugh is in his spare time, he loves business and growing companies. I would like to say a warm welcome to Valter and welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having me. So it seems like kind of I'm famous, but I'm not famous at all. No one knows me.
Well, you've done plenty of stuff. I mean, I've obviously I've followed you and I've known you quite a few years now and see things. And like you say yourself, not everybody sees you, not everybody sees you out there because you're not predominantly on social media, as we were chatting about beforehand, as much as you want to. But the things that you've done are astonishing. And I really do think, the listeners and the viewers are really going to take some real gold nuggets away from this. So can you just tell us a bit about yourself and how you sort of started? Because the journey has been phenomenal for you.
Yeah, so my name is Valter Pontes. I'm from Portugal, as you can hear from my accent. So I came to England. I'm already here around 6 years now. Yeah, 6 years. Came to learn English. I couldn't speak English 6 years ago. Came to learn English and get into university, which I did. Then I stumbled into property. So I've been in property 3.5 years now. So because I didn't have, as a student, didn't have a lot of capital, I started as a sourcer, made 6 figures there, built a 2.5 million portfolio in a year, then went to 10 million, and then, I'm around 50 million. I have properties here in the UK, I have properties in Portugal, and I'm expecting to go to US next year. So that is a nutshell, what I do, and also I have different companies, and I'm a board of directors of some other companies as well. Yeah.
Massive. I mean, in such a short time period, I bet. Did you ever think that you'd grow as big as you grew, as quickly as you grew?
I made a lot of mistakes as well, so I have to say that. So because I think I've grown quite fast, so I made a lot of mistakes, which I learned from the mistakes, and thinking if I would grow that fast. I'm a bit impatient, so I like things fast. So I would say, I always wanted to be big. Never thought I would grow that fast, that big, in that short amount of time. But I think I've always been a quite ambitious guy. Yeah, personally.
Oh, definitely. A man after my own heart, so to speak, but it's taken it to a whole new level. So, I mean, from my perspective, and obviously from the listeners and the people watching this perspective, what made you choose property?
Yeah, so most people don't know, but, I used to be a model, and then I came to England because I wanted to be an actor. I just didn't want it to have that life, acting life is quite tough. I didn't want it to do kind of waitress jobs. And don't get me wrong, I've done all of these type of jobs when I arrived, but I didn't want it to do that and then to land in a movie. So what I did, I was like, okay, I wanted to do basically movies first and then go into a property. But then I read a book, Arnold Schwarzenegger autobiography, where he started in real estate, then he went to acting. I'm like, okay, maybe I should do that. So that's why I started in property. I had no property experience. I had no idea about business. So that's why I started reading a lot of books. So I read my first year kind of in business, I read like 250, then I read like 360, So since then I've been reading like around 200 books a year. Yeah.
Oof. All those books behind you, basically. So
I read more than that. Yeah.
I bet you have. I've seen the stacks. I've seen some pictures you put on once with stacks and stacks of books. I mean, for myself, that's a hell of a lot of books. I mean, I've always used to try and get like 50 books read in a year and things, because for me, I'm a slow reader. It takes time for it to go in. Sometimes I have to reread chapters and things like that. But obviously, yourself, with the way your brain works, you can read very, very quickly and sort of take in what you're actually reading. Is that one of the things that's really helped you?
Yeah, Mark. So it's just kind of, I have a schedule. So, I have a schedule that I'm quite strict with the schedule. So, and everyone is different. Some people would like books. My brain needs books. So, because remember, I didn't even know what was a lead, just to give an idea. So if you would say to me, a lead, I'm like, what that means, lead. So, I was doing more modeling, acting. I didn't do any business in university, so I had to educate myself. So in the end of the day, I think everything is possible. It's just sometimes a lack of kind of knowledge that we have, and then we achieve what we want. So I think everything is possible if you have the right knowledge, right environment, and the right mindset as well. Yeah.
Definitely. So you started out, just to go back, you started out, so to speak, as a deal sourcer. You were packaging up deals and things, obviously trying to look to keep the good ones for yourself, and then any ones that weren't particularly what suited you, passing those on. And you scaled that really quickly, didn't you?
Yeah, so I started deal sourcer. So deal sourcing is when you find a deal and then you pass that deal on to someone else. You negotiate and you package that to someone else. I started as a deal sourcer, made 180,000 my first year. Yeah, I scaled quite fast because I use a lot of technology. And so then I systematized that business. And then I went to Mastermind with Simon Zucci, which I won the Mastermind. But then I went to Mastermind. I'm not very kind of social media, so I went to increase my network and and start buying properties. I knew how to find properties. It was just kind of, how do I buy them? How do I refurbish them? Basically, I have systems for everything. So when I said to you I made some mistakes, is because I grew fast, but I didn't have the system. So then I realized everything's about systems. So processes, in place, and recruitment, onboarding, all of that. I have systems for everything. I even construction is systematized. Yeah.
Do you know what? I sometimes give myself a hard time for leaving the systems too late in my own business. It was almost like, got a handful of properties, got a load of tenants and everything. And it's like, crikey, I need to start, delegating this. I need to start outsourcing this as well. But I also think, looking back myself, that sometimes, particularly when you're starting, you've got to create something. There's no point creating systems if you have nothing to put the systems into. So it's a vicious circle, so to speak, but create something, get something in motion, and then, like you say there, systematize it, make it as slick and as efficient as you can. And I know for a fact that you're very much, you're into, your systems, you're into your spec, you're very handy on a computer and with software and all of that sort of thing. So I think that's why you've also managed to scale things, because you've worked with people and you've built a team, haven't you, to sort of do or delegate the things that potentially you're not happy about or you don't enjoy that much, and then be able to focus on the things that can create the most revenue and income in your business.
Yeah, one of the things I often been asked is like kind of I think one of the things that changed my life is to understand my weakness and my strength. So I focus on my strength rather than my weakness, and I just delegate my weakness. So for example, I'm very bad in decorating properties. People are like, oh my God, your properties are beautiful. But I have an interior designer who does that, because I think I would put a bed in the ceiling if the gravity allowed, because that's how bad I am. So you just understand what you're good at. You don't need to be good at everything. So it's a lie. So that you need to be good at everything. No one is. So, and understand your weakness, and so, and then put people and processes in place, and KPIs, key performance indicators, to see they're doing a great job, and they will help you to grow your company. Yeah. So, and you help them as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had numerous friends of mine as well that have had tours of some of your properties and things, and they've just said it's a whole new level. You know, in a really really good way. You know, PlayStations in bedrooms and all sorts of things like that. So, you know, you've won the awards, and you know, you justifiably because of the product that you've put together. And I mean, even now, I mean, what is your sort of portfolio looking like in the sense of your own? Obviously, you've got businesses as well. I mean, how are you looking to sort of grow your businesses at the moment, and what is your main focuses right now?
Yeah, so my main focus, so I property wise also almost systematized. So we are growing. So we are here in the UK. We in Portugal as well, in Lisbon. So we're going to open an office in the Porto, which is the north of Lisbon. And then, you know, as I mentioned, I'm going to the US. So my portfolio, you know, is a mix of HMOs with single lets and essays as well. So it depends on the area. I see the data. I don't invest just for the sake of investing. I see the data, and then the data will tell me in that area what they needs to be, you know, needs to create. I need to create, because I just don't want to create a product that the market doesn't want. So yeah, that's what I, you know, I do. So, and then, you know, my time now, I'm buying businesses. So that's why I spend most of my time, to be very honest, because my property is already systematized. I have someone who finds a property, you know, basically knows all the systems. He needs to buy, let's say, 10, 12 properties a year. That is the, you know, what he needs to achieve. So all of that side of business systematized. I'm focused more in as a CEO level, kind of, you know, see the, you know, not managing, but, you know, I'm more kind of advisor now. So I every Monday I have meetings with my board of advisors. So it's more about businesses, you know, acquiring businesses, fixing them, sometimes sell, sometimes keep them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the deal sourcing business that you started with, is that still going, or is that still
Yeah.
operating?
So
Packaging?
I have I have a deal sourcing business as well. That is, you know, Maria. She's my right hand. You know, she's been with me since the beginning. She runs that. I don't know for how long I will carry on the business, but yeah, but it's systematized. So, you know, I can use the cash flow from that business, you know, to buy more properties. I think that's why I kept the business still. Yeah. I
All
like the
right.
cash flow.
Well, that's it. If you're getting great cash flow and you're sort of enjoying it as well, why not keep it going? So, I mean, if somebody was looking to start in property now, and there's a lot of people out there, what sort of advice would you give them from, you know, the experience that you've got now?
Yeah, I would say like depend. So, if you wanted to sign property, why you wanted to sign property? Number one. Number two, I would say, you know, depend, because you're going to have many different strategies. You need to see like about your time, about how much money you have. For example, in my case, I didn't have much money, so I wanted to do sourcing, because also my long-term goal was to buy property. So try to find a strategy that going to help you in the long term as well. I would say. Then the third thing I would say, find a strategy that you like to do, because otherwise, you know, there's no point of do a strategy that you don't like to. It's not like I, it's not like kind of I loved sourcing, but I knew, you know, eventually I wanted to start buying properties, and I knew it was, I think it's a skill that all you know, investors should learn, you know, sourcing. So that's why I started as a sourcer. But there's a lot of different strategies. But you know, if you have already some money, why not just buy property straight away? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think in a sense we're all deal sources, because you've got to find the deals at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
it is about getting out there, finding the deals, making sure that they're good deals, and not just trying to buy or acquire anything that's out there, which also a lot of people do try and do. They try and shoehorn a certain strategy into a deal, which will never work. So, like you say, it's a bit like knowing what you're looking at, knowing what the deals are, knowing when to walk away or knowing when to pursue it and push themselves forward. So, we were talking about it a bit beforehand. I know you're a big advocate of looking after yourself as well, and I was quite intrigued with what you told me. So I was going to say, your fitness and looking after yourself, and I've started doing this more and more. I wish I'd have done it at a younger age, but I figure I've got to start sooner rather than later at the end of the day to look after myself. But just tell the listeners what you do to look after yourself, and some of the things and the methods that you're currently using as well to find out, your insides age, was it, or something like that? Go on.
Yeah,
I'll let you say it.
yeah. But you look very, let me tell you, Mark, you look great. So like, you look, much younger. I mentioned that when we started. Yeah. So I'm a bit not crazy in terms of that, but I think you should look after yourself. Ron Buffett said we have one. He had a story, said, like, if you only could buy one car, and in life, you would choose very carefully, and then you would take care of the car very carefully. So in that car is our body. So we need to take the car as long as we can. So I use this ring, it called Aura, has some chips inside. So basically it tracks my deep sleep, my realm sleep, basically my quality of sleep. I have an app called Rise. Basically, this app will tell me, because sometimes we work so hard, we burn out. So it will tell me, okay, this is your kind of deep, dead sleep. So you need to start have naps. You need to start take it easy. So I have that as well. I have something that basically most people don't know, but you can start reversing your age, basically, because you can look good outside, but internally not being as feeling as well. We can't see inside. So there's a company in America called Insider Tracker. So basically, Insider Tracker, they take your DNA and they take your blood markers, and then basically they will tell you how old are you inside of your organs and body. That is kind of the same thing kind of Cristiano Ronaldo kind of uses. So it's 30 something, but it's, I think, 20 something. So that's why he keeps performing. So athletes, they use that as well. And I use that as well. So I take blood every 6 months, and then the algorithm tells me what I need to eat and stuff. And also have a nutritionist. So yeah, these are the things. I do more things, but then people will think I'm weird. So I think let's start from that.
No, that's brilliant. At the end of the day, with the technology and everything's out there, it's worth using. It's worth pushing. And like you say, the Warren Buffett thing is brilliant. If we had one vehicle, we would look after it. We would make sure, that the right fuel and everything goes into it, and we wouldn't abuse it. We wouldn't be handbraking it around the corners, left, right, and center. If we couldn't have another car, and it meant taking a bus or the train, or not even getting anywhere yourself. So. No, I just thought it was really, really good, because I have started really looking after myself over the last couple of years, and I appreciate your kind comments as well. But also, I know that I probably need to myself to start taking it to another level. I probably got to the point of where I can get to with what I'm doing, and I need to maybe look at a personal trainer and step it up another gear. So coming from you and listening to you about those sort of things just reminds me what I maybe need to give myself a kick up the backside and do and push forward on. So thank you for that. But no, I appreciate anything like that. So, I always like to talk, obviously, a bit about property. This is a property podcast and everything. So we'll come back onto the ranch. But obviously, your portfolio is a sizable portfolio, and it is. Is it more about a legacy piece for yourself, or obviously you're doing very well with your other businesses and things. And what I'm trying to say is, are you going to keep purchasing and keep buying and keep building that portfolio, or is there a point where Valter's going to say enough's enough now? That's enough of properties.
Yeah, so properties, I use properties. So I basically tell everyone, so business is very volatile. Business can be doing very well, and then it can crash. So every year I like to basically take money from my businesses and buy properties. So then I don't use the money from property, so I keep on reinvesting the money of property. So let's say if in case one of my business needs cash, I can take the money from property and bring to my business. So I always going to be buying properties because I think it's kind of I don't really like to invest in stock market because for me, investing in stock market is the same as in buying a company, because you're buying a piece of a company. So I like to buy companies myself and fix them, but I know is sometimes can be volatile. Property is very stable, compared to other businesses. So I always going to be buying properties, just growing the portfolio. Yeah, so I think I'm always going to be in the game of property. I love it.
That's good. That's good. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's so to speak to say that you're investing in your own businesses rather than other people's businesses, which you are on a stock market and things like that. Because, like you say, you're sort of banking your own cash and in control of it, rather than having it in a bank or in bonds or funds or anything like that. Obviously, you can still do those things, but by having it in property, it's more at your disposal when you need it, when you want it. And I think for shoring up your businesses, for shoring up your own entrepreneur mindset and also portfolio of businesses and properties, that's a really good way to do things. And obviously if prices go up, in a booming market, and you just think to yourself, it hasn't done particularly well on the rental side, but now it's looking a tidy sum, it's a case of sell that one, buy another one, and it's you just playing Monopoly, really, aren't you, when you get to that level, which is great. And it gives you that bit of security and everything. But I mean, I have to say, from the outsider's perspective, looking at what you've achieved, I mean, I think I met you at a property networking event, which was a very big event down in London. And we were doing very similar training at the time as well. And I think you were a year above me because obviously you won Mastermind 26, wasn't it? And I
26, yeah.
So I came after you, so to speak, the year after. And yeah, just to see that growth. And I mean, even in the 12 months that you did 26 was massive. But over the course of the next, 3 years, it has been tremendous. But I like to speak to people about burnout and about things like that, because it is a very, very realistic thing. Now, I've near enough burnt myself out. I've never been really down in the dumps or anything like that, but I have felt that, I don't want to do anything. I felt lethargic and everything like that, because I think one of the things you can get carried away in, particularly with business and property, is you get on this sort of crest of a wave in yourself and you're enjoying it and you think, I'll never get bored of this. But all of a sudden, if you're not careful and you don't have, a bit of rest, you don't get the right sleep in, you don't also take a bit of time off just to switch your brain off or switch your brain to something else, you can really struggle with burnout. And I know I've had that in the past, and I know the signs in myself now of when I need to take a break and things like that. But have you had any struggles with that? Because obviously with a lot of businesses and stuff.
Yeah, so what I do, Mark, I have what I call morning routine. So I have one thing people don't realize: we need to look after not just our body but our mental health. So I do what I call morning routine, which is I listen to my goals, my affirmation. I write my goals down. I do meditation. So I do a morning routine kind of to center me and motivate me. Because since we were a kid, we always listen like, you can't achieve something. So we have, conscious mind and unconscious mind. I like to keep my unconscious mind kind of active. So I do all of that. That centers me. And as I said to you, I do sleep, my friend. I sleep quite a lot. I do sleep. So I'm not an advocate of just go, just work as hard as you can. I like to listen to my body. That's why I have these apps, so you can tell me like slow down. I have Apple Watch as well. Sometimes can tell you like kind of, yeah, it seems your heart rate is very high today. Are you stressed or whatever? So I listen to all of that. So because in the end of the day, I don't do this for money anymore. So it's like kind of the freedom and in enjoying life as well. So you need to enjoy life, because why would you do all of that? So I never had that, but is something that is you need to look after yourself. And why I do it, like having kind of a routine that you do daily, it does help you. Business is not a sprint. Business is a marathon, so you should have kind of systems in place. I think that's what helps me to be consistent. But I'm not in business, like I haven't been in business for 10 years. So I think I've been in business 3.5 years. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it's easily forgotten when you're looking at other people's results and you just think, oh, I wish I could achieve something like that. You know, if you take the actions and the small steps each and every day, and they're the right actions and the right steps, you can follow anybody's footsteps. You can build anything you want. And like you say, with the mindset, when we're young, we're very well, particularly myself, when I was growing up and stuff, it was very much down one road and that was it. And it wasn't until I actually came out of that, or deviated, should I say, off of that road, and found that there's the opportunities are everywhere. But it's just making sure that you're taking the right actions with the right opportunities. And if you do that more often than not, and we all make mistakes and things all go wrong, but as long as you're not banking and putting a house on everything, then you can keep progressing and keep moving forward without having a massive roadblock or falling backwards. But that's brilliant. So following on from that, then, what does Valter do for fun?
I watch, actually, this is a very common question. People ask me quite often. Sundays, I tend to watch cartoons. I like to watch manga cartoons. Yeah, I just because I think Tony Robbins as well, he likes to watch cartoons. Just I get him be in bed just watching cartoons, like being a child again. So I think yeah, it's something that I enjoy. I used to watch a lot of movies, but now I like cartoons a bit more. Yeah, so that's what I do for fun. And also I do travel a lot. So for example, I go every 3 months to US because I'm going to start buying there. So last time when I was in US, I went to Disney, then I went to Universal. Yeah, like just spend the day there, being a kid. So yeah, so things like that. Sometimes it's just relax. Yeah.
I think it is. I mean, that's brilliant. It's just finding what you enjoy. It's not what people because I did never guess that with you or anything like that. But it's not what everybody else thinks you should enjoy, or you've got to put it out there. It's really just what comes from you, in it, and what makes you physically happy. And I got very much the same with my kids, so to speak. I never realized how much I actually enjoyed spending time with them until I just switched everything else off and spent time with them, just going out and playing basketball with them and just having a laugh and just doing most of the time I'm doing things that they want to do, but I'm just happy because I'm in that environment. And I enjoy watching them being happy and things. So I think that's great. I think that's good. Me and Lewis during lockdown, he went through all of like the Simpsons and stuff like that as well. So he loves his cartoons and things. So yeah, it's great. Just doing what you do to chill out and make you happy is fantastic. So I like to ask, if you don't mind, a few questions to your good self, where I'm always intrigued. I don't know if the listeners are, but I'm always intrigued of the answers and things. And one of the first questions is, if you could sit down around a table and have a conversation with 3 people, who would you choose?
Would choose Charlie Munger, which is Warren Buffett, friends and business partner for years. I would choose Elon Musk. I think he's a bit weird like me, not like I'm as Elon Musk, but I like he's very driven. And I would say so Elon Musk, Charlie Munger, and maybe I would say maybe Warren Buffett. No, but not. Yeah, these guys very smart. Yeah, very smart people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And what's some of the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I ever been given. I have a lot of mentors. One of the things about change your life, because I have a very humble beginning. So I didn't believe that I could even achieve what I've achieved. So, and now I can spend some time with very successful people. I would say the best advice I ever been given is we sometimes think that I had a mentor said, Volta, life sometimes is 4,000 weeks. So whatever you have to do it now. That stick with me. So I'm like 4,000 weeks. I never thought about that. So that gives me a sense of purpose and also a sense of urgency. Yeah. So I think that's one of the best advice I've ever been given. Yeah.
Bloody hell, when you break it down like that, it's quite scary, isn't it? But no, that's
Yeah, it's
brilliant.
about
That's
scary.
brilliant.
We need to hurry up. Yeah,
Yeah. All right, moving on.
yeah.
So I'm always fascinated as well. What's your sort of top 3 books, would you say, or recommend to people that they definitely need to read these now? You might
yeah,
need 40.
Yeah, I read quite a lot. I would say one book that had a huge impact in my life was the so let's start from start, so because it's so many books, so let me think. I would say um Ray Dalio book. Definitely it was a great book, but it's quite advanced.
That
um
principle.
Principle, yeah,
Yeah.
principles is quite advanced. Let me see. uh da, 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 da. I would say Slight Edge is a great book. Slight Edge, because it did give me the discipline to do things every single day. Tiny steps will make a big difference, because we think like, I want to be successful overnight. So success is kind of discipline. I
Mhm.
think a few things that you do daily. I would say Slight Edge, Ray Dalio principle, and I would say one of the best books I read was the Charlie Munger book. So anything Charlie Munger writes, I think is so wise, so wise. He's 97 now years old. Anything that is been written by Charlie Munger, I would say. I know it's not 3, but yeah, give a bit more. Anything by Charlie
No,
Munger.
that's good. That's good. I'll definitely have a look at those as well. I've always heard great things about him and stuff like that. Do you listen to podcasts
I
or
do
have any
listen to podcasts. Yeah, so I go to the gym every day and I listen to podcasts every single day. And yeah, so then I study at night. Yeah.
what do you listen to? What do you recommend?
I basically, the way I do podcasts is like this. So anything that I'm interested in. So for example, if I wanted to be involved in property, which I am, so I listen to podcasts in property. So if I wanted to be, let's say, I wanted to start e-commerce business, I would listen to e-commerce business podcast. So that's the way. Anything that you are interested in, yeah. So that's the way I do.
Yeah.
I basically listen to podcasts that way. Yeah.
That's good. I do actually. Whenever if you're in business, like you're saying, all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I need to maybe look at my marketing side of things. Then you're looking at marketing podcasts just to get ideas. It opens your mind up to different ways of doing things and stuff. So that's a good answer, actually. I like that. I'm loving these answers, mate. I'm loving them because they're
Thank you.
different and they're coming from you, which is really, really good. What else have we got? So what book are you reading currently?
I normally read like seven books at the same time. So I'm reading one in tax. I'm reading another one. So because I read many books at the same time, so I'm reading another one in business, and then I'm reading another one in psychology, and one in marketing. So and one in sales. So that's the categories I'm reading, and then I finish them. So I tend to read like 4 to 6 books at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. And do you schedule that in, so to speak, to say I'm going to read this book at this time, or is it just whatever you want to pick up at that moment?
Yeah, so I do schedule. So yeah, I've kind of scheduled for everything, so it's just easier. So from, let's say, 8:30 to 11:30 before I go to bed, I do what I call person development. Person development can be anything: psychology, biology, things that help you to make better decisions. Then I do what I call general business knowledge. General business knowledge is any the knowledge that you need to run business, accounting, sales, marketing, technology, for example, tax, legal, HR. Yeah, so I read these categories, and then I have specific business knowledge, which can, for example, be property. Normally, I do a training, so I'm really an advocate about online training. So I tend to do trainings. I'm in different masterminds. Yeah, so that's the way I divide my personal development, general business knowledge, and specific business knowledge. That's what I do.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I do the same as well. With online training and things, you've got everything really at your disposal, and it's great to be able to work through systems and work through processes and see how other people are doing things and things like that. And you never want to stop learning. Well, I don't. I personally, I'm always trying to better myself, to learn more, to open new avenues and things like that, because there's just a wealth of knowledge. And I think if you're expanding as a person and your brain's expanding, then you're alive. I think if you're just sat with that narrow mindset, then there's no real point. You're not going anywhere, are you? And as humans, we're born to grow. Whether whether we start getting older and that starts going the other way, which is fair enough, but we're born to grow. So if you're not further educating yourself, if you're not reading books, listening to podcasts, or even just doing online trainings and things like that, then you will not be growing as a person. And I know this through personal experience, because I spent a lot of time with my corporate job not reading books, not looking for personal development. But the moment I open and unlock that door, wow, a whole new world comes open to you, and all the possibilities are there for you to be able to go out there and succeed. So to hear that and the way you put it so succinctly, I mean, I speak very quickly, but you've put it there and broken it down for the listeners and everything in such a manner there that, if somebody listens to this or watches this and doesn't want to take those actions, then, you're listening or watching the wrong thing realistically, because you want to be bettering yourself and moving yourself forward. So what does the future for Valter hold? I mean, what are your plans over the next couple of years then, really? I know you're looking at moving into the United States and everything like that, and there's other business, but obviously what you can share with us would just be a really good insight.
Yeah, so I'm doing the same thing I've done in the past. So now, to be honest, I just do bigger deals, because I've done the small ones, got the systems in place and stuff, and I will always wanted to buy many properties, because rather than you buy one, so if you have systems, you can just buy, let's say, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the same time. So about systems. In the future, I wanted to keep on doing that and keep on expanding my businesses in different companies. As soon as you find one system, I think you can put these systems in any country. So I will expand and having fun. So but I'm, as I said, so more in business rather than. I'm always going to be involved in property, but I do like business a lot. So I think that's where I'm going to. 80% of my time is in business. I'd say 20% in property. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And I mean, if any of the listeners want to find out a little bit more about you or anything like that, is there any way that they can?
Yeah, so I'm finally in Instagram, and I'm quite, on Facebook. I think I've been on Facebook for quite a long time, and LinkedIn. So this, my social media. So reach out to me on social media. I tend actually to respond to my social media emails. I have a secretary she go through, but I tend to be in social media.
Yeah. It's more at your fingertips a lot of the time, isn't it? I'm a bit the same with emails and things. The PA goes through them and passes me what I need to look at, but I try not to look at emails. I have a special time to look at emails and respond to those as much as possible. But otherwise, you're running around like a headless chicken, particularly if you've got a few different companies. And in your case, you must have emails popping through all the time. So no, that's great. Well, I'd like to say, Valter, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. And I appreciate the fact that you've come on and you've shared what you shared with us and stuff. It's been really, really great to have you here. Is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners and the people watching this before we go?
No, really. So thank you for having me. The only thing I would say, like, everything is possible. I start with zero. When I say zero, minus zero, I couldn't even believe I could buy a property. if I could do it, I believe everyone can. I had everything against me. I couldn't speak English. I'm not from the UK, and you name it. I have a lot of things against me. I'm not saying I'm successful, because success, if you're a father, you're successful. Whatever you do well with passion, you're successful. But everything that you believe you can do, if you already believe, is because you can do it. Because otherwise you wouldn't even dream or believe that you could do it. So everything that you believe you can do it. As I said, we have 4,000 weeks, so let's make a mark in this world.
Yeah,
I would say that.
Definitely. And that's a brilliant way to leave it on. Again, thank you very much for coming on. I'd like to say that I'll put links to Valter's social media in the show notes of this episode. And I hope you've enjoyed it and taken lots of value from it. If you have, then feel free to comment and subscribe and share the episode as well. And I'm always interested in listening to what people have to say. And if you want to leave a 5-star review, then that would be perfect too, on whatever platform you're listening to this on. So all that leaves me to say is thank you for coming on, Valter. It's been great to have you, and I look forward to catching up with you again in the future.
Thanks for having me, my friend. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.